Football's about passion. It's a way of life. It gets you up on the morning. It's magnificent. It's fantastic. What a sport. What a sport. It's a way of life. It's a way of life.
FIFA 07 was the start of good things, but that was on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 version. So let's try out the PS2 version. So looking at these menus here, I am assuming it's going to be similar to the other FIFA games we have featured on this channel on the PS2. But we'll have a look at this anyway, because I have never played FIFA 07 before. These screens are different to the other PS2 FIFAs around this era. And welcome to Manager Mode. Yeah, I think this is a good place to start, guys. I liked Manager Mode, again, in this era. When I say this era, I kind of mean FIFA 07, 08, 09, etc. Oh, lots of managers to choose from. I think there's more than usual. I say than usual. What have we featured before? Is it FIFA? It might have been FIFA 14 PS2 we've featured. So I'm just assuming this is going to be more of the same. But Frey Bentos will be the manager here. So we'll have a look at the career, or manager mode as it was called back then. And then I will move on swiftly and we'll just play maybe a tournament. See what tournament is like. Just to see what the content is like here. But yeah, I quite liked FIFA 14 PS2, and I think all of these FIFAs run on the same engine, if that was even a thing back then. I mean, of course it was. You had game engines, even in the PS2 era. You all know where Frey Bentos is from. Frey Bentos is our fictional character on all these football games, whether it be a manager or a player, and you all know he's from Uruguay. And you always know, or you do know, lots of no's here. We're all in the know, but he's always got a moustache, or a moustache, as some people say. I prefer to say moustache, and that's his date of birth. It's not my date of birth. I wish I was born in 1981. That would make me younger than I am. Anyway, here are your leagues that you can join in a manager mode. I like these screens in the background. It just adds a bit of something to the presentation. I'll be adding my own music in the background, by the way, guys. Sorry, that photo took me by surprise then. I'll be adding my own music. There is a really, really good soundtrack for this game, but I've had to turn it off for obvious reasons. I think it's the same soundtrack we got in FIFA 07 on the Xbox 360. Frey Bentos has big shoes to fill. And also, I'm wrong, guys. I'm wrong. I'm sure I said at the top of this video, FIFA 07 was the start of good things on 360 and PS3. I don't know if we had it on PS3. I don't know if the PS3 had arrived yet. But I remember it being the first FIFA on 360 I played. Or rather, the first FIFA I had played in years that I thought, ooh, EA are onto something here. I loved this, choosing your sponsor. But again, all of these screens look more or less identical in manager mode, and I thought they would be, to FIFA 14, which I will keep referencing because I remember that quite well on PS2. It's a little bit like Pro Evo, when PES on PS2 was kind of the same game after, I want to say, I don't know what I want to say, PES 2012? Maybe? I don't know. What was the last PS2 PES, guys? I should know this. My mind's gone blank. Was it 2014? It was 2014, wasn't it? Anyway, it's that kind of thing. Everyone had moved on to the next gen of consoles as they were known at the time. But the people who were still playing their PS2s... Right, here's your transfer list or your transfer market. I'll try and sign a player just to see how all of this works. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here. This is an episode of Retro Football where we just kind of look at the game and see what's up kind of thing. Let's try Hilario. Or Hilario, however you say his name. The Portuguese goalkeeper, I think. I think he was from Portugal, wasn't he? I don't know if Aston Villa need a goalkeeper, but again, I'm just doing this as an example, just to test how straightforward, I can't get my words out. Yeah, how straightforward transfers were around this time. But back to PS2 and FIFA and PES around this era. How many times have I said era already? But you all know what I mean. I think the PS2 was still doing quite well in, I want to say, South America, because I know it was very popular around that region, in those regions for a while. I don't know if people in that side, over that side of the world, got the consoles, the next gen, quote unquote, consoles a little bit later. I might be wrong on that. Any resident, I don't know, Brazilians, Mateus is one of our subscribers. Mateus will let me know if that is why people were still playing a lot of PS2 in the other regions. Anyway, I'm waffling away here. Here come Aston Villa against Charlton.
Hello and welcome to EA Sports FIFA 07.
Player models look okay. They look a lot better than they did on the Xbox 360 version of this game. And when I say I liked FIFA 07 on Xbox 360 and thought it was the sign of good things to come, and it did turn out to be the case, because FIFA 08, 09, 10, etc. on the 360 and PS3 were very good games. But with all that said, FIFA 07 on the 360 was still rough around the edges. It had a lot of work, or EA had a lot of work to do. Even though I thought it was a step in the right direction, I still went back to PES 6, it might have been. So this was released around the same window as PES 6. So PES 6 on PS2, in my opinion, after playing this for just a few seconds, is still a better game. But I gotta say, guys, I'm already enjoying this. This is EA's, or rather, let me rephrase that. This is the closest EA have ever got to making PES, in my opinion. This little cluster of FIFA games on PS2, they're more or less just ripping PES off and putting their own spin on it, kind of thing. Because this is good. I like this straight away. I am in world-class difficulty, guys. You actually do your difficulty in the top screen. It's quite strange. Oh, or rather in the settings, in the front menus. So I did all that before hitting record, turn the music off. Can I zoom out more than this? Let's have a look. Yes, you can. Okay. There's a lot of content here. That is where it is better than PES 6. Which is no surprise to anyone. I mean, EA or FIFA has always been pretty good in regards to content. But on the pitch, this plays a very nice game of football. I want to say I'm preferring this to FIFA 14. Oh, he's on. I love how this flows. Shoot. And it lets me use PES controls. Again, at the beginning or in the front menus, it asks, do you want to use classic controls or new analog? And I've gone with new analog because I have to use PES controls. I cannot have the FIFA controls shoot or circle to shoot, square to cross. It feels criminal to me, that. Commentary as well is so good. It's the PS2. Oh, the ball's got a nice weight to it. This is in normal speed. Again, I'm going to go back to the front menus. I kind of wish I'd showed you guys the menus before hitting record. But you can choose, by default it's on fast, but you could choose slow, normal or fast. This is, moving my wall there. Ah! What an absolute screamer. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbeck, of course. I remember him being at Charlton. Andy Gray pipes up on the comms. Commentary is better than FIFA today in these old-ass PS2 games, which is quite something. So is the gameplay, actually. The only thing I would say is that visually, I think this is not very nice. And the frame rate is abysmal. I don't know if that's the software I'm using. He's in! Hey! I gotta get used to shooting. Andrew Gray's right, you can't pass up opportunities like that. what was I saying? Yeah, visually, I don't know if it's the renderer doing funky stuff. It is upscaling the game, but it doesn't really look like it's upscaling it because it does look a bit rough. The problem FIFA had on PS2, and I think this was for most of the FIFA PS2 versions, was everything was too dark. I find everything's a bit washed out in regards to its colour palette. And I know it's a night match, but even still, everything's too dank. Is that word okay to use in this situation? Dank and dreary. But it is, isn't it? It looks a bit rough. I wouldn't have cared back in the day, and I'm actually kicking myself for two things. One, getting rid of my PS2. I traded it towards the original Xbox, which I then traded towards a 360. I wish I'd kept my PS2 and owned the 360 as well, but kept my PS2 just for my football gaming. I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, of course, but you had so many good football games around now. This, PES 6, PES 5 I would have still been playing. Whereas, is that Darren Ambrose? I just heard him say Ambrose. There's a blast from the past. Big shout out to Dave. Dave will be laughing. Darren Ambrose is a player Dave used to always say to me Man United should sign. I'm joking. There's a long backstory to the Darren Ambrose thing, and I'm not going to go into it, but it's quite funny, and Dave will find it amusing, I'm sure. PS2. It's the football console. Well, it's not the football console. It's the football gaming console. Yeah, I think the render is doing funky stuff, guys. Maybe it didn't look this bad, because I just noticed a light effect on the top left of the screen, which looked like a foreign object to me, and that suggests, again, renderer doing funky stuff. It doesn't make it any less true, though, in regards to the colour palette being off. Look how not faded, but you guys know what I mean. I'm loving this. Very challenging. That's Bareth Gary. There's Angel. Andy Gray. I liked Andy Gray's commentary on these games. FIFA had top draw commentary, didn't it? Over the years, like with John Motson way back in the day. I loved John Motson's commentary on the PS1 versions of FIFA. Maybe a few of the PS2 versions. The thing with the PS2 FIFAs as well, and I know I'm on a ramble here, guys, but I like rambling to you. Hold that thought. Oh, he's closer. Oh, I'm getting closer. Yeah, it's strange because FIFA games on PS2 I thought were dross at the beginning. So when the PS2 first launched, FIFA 2001, I think it might have been, was the first FIFA I played. I might be way off on that. Might have actually been FIFA 97. I think it was. I always remember my brother getting a PS2 at launch. And I was like, Matt, please buy FIFA 97 from Asda. And he was like, oh, but Mike, I don't want a football game. My brother's not as crazy about footy games as me. But he did, bless him. He bought it. And I was like, Mike? I'm Mike. I was like, Matt, show me its power. Show me the PS2's power. And we played it for like 5-10 minutes. And we scored about 4 overhead kicks each in our first match. There was no learning curve. It was dross. But then these FIFA games on PS2, again, EA were just ripping off. This is PES. This could be PES. Not as good. It's not as good as PES. I'm not saying it's as good as PES 5 or PES 6. It's not. But it's up there. This feels like a PES game with all the licenses. I would argue the shooting in this feels slightly better than PES, but everything else PES does better on the pitch. And I think PES graphically on PS2 was better than this. Some would disagree with that, but I think PES, the player models look better, the just general pitches and that kind of thing look better on PS2. Anyway, I've rage quit, abandoned the game. I'm really struggling with speaking, guys. I don't know why. I just more than usual. I'm so excited. I've got so many things I want to say about this game and this era. Look at Frei Bentos there. He looks like a Colombian drug cartel member, doesn't he? I don't want to stereotype people, but he just does. He looks like, I'm trying to remember his name. I watched Narcos on Netflix. You all know the series. Very good. What was his name? Famous Colombian drug lord. Anyway, I'll stop talking about drug lords. This is FIFA. Next up would have been Chelsea, look. Wait a sec. Can you change... Yeah, you do. You change your kits here. Look at that. That's a unique kind of thing, isn't it? I like that. You change it with L1 and R1. That's very strange. I like it. It's quirky. But I did promise you guys we would do maybe a tournament. Look at all the stuff there is to do. You got the PSP link as well, which I'm not entirely sure that's about. I mean, obviously link it to your PSP, but what does that do? So you can have your saves on the PSP, your career saves, you take it over to the PSP game. Is it the same game on PSP? I just don't know. Look at this guy with his drum in the background. There's a Newcastle fan with a very unhappy face, not enjoying life with Newcastle. Let's choose Bayern Munich. Yeah, not enjoying the season by the looks of things there. Poor old Newcastle fans. They need to watch our PES 5 Newcastle Master League series. That'll cheer them up. Right, who have we drawn? Who's that? Looks like... Let's see what the full name of the club is. Belastał. I can't say that. Is that Polish or Norwegian? I think that's a Polish club, isn't it? I recognise the name. Anyway. Let's see what's up. Let's see what's next. That Bayern Munich team is okay. They've had better sides. It's okay. Trying to think what they were doing around 2006. Winning the league every year, probably, but they always do. Apart from last year, of course, as I'm recording this. But I had a soft spot for the German leagues when I was a kid. I watched all of the other European leagues more than the Premier League. It was weird. They were just so ahead of us. I say us, the UK, in terms of tactics and that kind of thing. I just found it more interesting. And yeah, I used to take an interest in Dortmund and Bayern Munich games, Schalke games, all the obvious clubs, basically. I don't know a lot about German football, but I do know a snippet. Anyway, the kits all look very good. Player models, again, I'm going to go back to my point. They look better in this than they do in the next-gen counterpart. Oh, it's Big Willy Sagnol. So Schweinsteiger, look, you see his beacon of a head.
What can they come up with here?
What can they come up with here? I don't know why, I just did an impression of, my name is Chris James. From early PES. Here we go. Ah, is that Roy Mackay, number 10 at Bayern at the time? Yes. Player likeness is very good, aren't they? Whereas, look, just fire at FIFA 07 or 08, especially on 360, and look at the player likenesses. They are dreadful. And on this old-ass PS2 version, they look fantastic. Make it make sense. And I'm sure I say, make it make sense on every video I make these days. It's not a new Mikeism. It's just, it is what it is. What it is. I haven't said that for a while. I want you guys to get in the replies. You always do. I want you to let me know your memories with the PS2 era of FIFA. Especially this era. We're on era watch. Oh. Or rather on era count. How many times have I said it in this video? The winner gets a... I don't know. I don't know what you get. You get something. Here come Belastał, or whatever they are called. Hey! This is so good. It really is a good football game. There's a fluidity about everything. But I'm going to repeat myself. I'm always repeating myself. I really wish I'd kept my PS2 back in the day to play these games. Oh, it's... Ah! Oh, I can't lose to these. It'd be too embarrassing. Maybe these are really good, though. I weren't taking notice of their stats.
You wouldn't want to call this game now. It really
Oh, look at that for a shot. And then he gets a bit of luck. He's there for the rebound, and it's a 1-1.
Now at 1-1. Good combination. Deisler. Lahm.
I think a lot of the problems, or rather the issue when it came to, and it's still the case today, when it comes to current gen football gaming, I don't think we've ever hit the heights of the PS2 era. There you go, era. And I've said it again. But yeah, I just don't think we have. As good as some of the FIFA games were on 360, and PES 2013 I loved on PS3 and 360. As good as they were, as good as the Ignite FIFAs were, FIFA 14 on PS4 especially. But even then, have we ever reached those heights of the PS2 games? All of these brilliant FIFA, late FIFA games. All of the brilliant PES games. PES 3, PES 5 and PES 6 come to mind especially. Have we ever hit those heights since? And that has been an issue. All of us have been waiting for this delicious next gen football game to arrive, and I don't feel that it ever has. I think FIFA 14 for me was the nearest we've ever got to a PES 3 or a PES 5 feeling. It's nothing like those games, but that feeling of excitement with it, like, oh my god, this is really good. But even then, it still didn't give me that feeling of PES 3 or PES 5 or PES 6 even. But anyway, this is FIFA 07 on the PS2. It's a quick look. It's really good. Really good. I'm going to be playing a lot more of this. Oh, it's a foul. They're going to score again. Hang around, guys. See if they score. See if they score. Hey, they don't. They haven't got a Hasselbank to score that free kick. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. Please get in the replies. Let me know. Let me know your memories with these FIFA games, if you've played them, of course. And, yeah, look out for more content coming to the channel. We've got so much planned, I wouldn't know where to start. I've been waffling enough, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Debbie Kalis. Flicked on. Real fluency about this move. Tipped away by the keeper.
Well, the keeper has made a wonderful save, but he'll know that he was lucky.